We were at the Union at the university. It's basically a place where people come and relax and you check your emails and your class schedules. And I just happened to see this head of curly hair, and I had to get closer to her, and the closer I got, the better she looked, and I had to introduce myself. So here we are 20 years later.
I have 3 kiddos. Isaac is our oldest. Ian is our middle child. Isabella is our youngest. She's 7.5. We homeschool them. We have for the last 5.5 years.
Do it! I want to do it!
Our children, they do have the best of both worlds in having a black father and a white mother. In life, they don't have to think about choosing a side. I'm originally from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is in the Eastern Caribbean. I was evacuated due to a volcano in 1979. I was 7 years old at the time. Came to the United States, lived in New York City for a few years, and I also was in the military myself. The only questions that the kids have asked us about race is, Dad, why is your skin darker than Mom's? Mm-hmm. And so I went ahead and took a DNA test, and I explained all that to them. Okay? Daddy is 50% Nigerian. Daddy is 25% from Sierra Leone. Daddy is 11% Scottish. Daddy has 4% Native American. Daddy has 3% Asian. So I break it down for him.
Oh man,
As far as what we're teaching them, it's what's appropriate for their age. We don't put them in that environment where they can be harmed or anyone can share their negativity with them. So we protect our children. They're still trying to learn how to do their multiplication tables, So the issue of slavery and, systemic racism, that's not at their level at this point.
But we're not clueless that it's there. And in due time, as those discussions come into play, he's like, you're old enough, you're mature enough, it's time for you to learn this. And it may come up because our child has a question, or it may come up because of something they're exposed to. A couple months ago, there was protests right here in our neighborhood. They chose South Lincoln neighborhoods where we live because they felt that they needed to expose South Lincoln. And so the kids got to see that firsthand right here at the end of our street and what that looked like, and it was a peaceful protest. But then when they see something on the news that's violent and people are literally hurting each other and causing vandalism, that's not a peaceful protest. That's literally riots. And so I've talked to them about knowing that we live in Nebraska, and in some regards their exposure looks very, very different than if we lived on the East or the West Coast.
We explained to them about George Floyd and what happened, and that's when I showed them the video. And then we all went through the steps of, okay, who was wrong at this point, who was right? Not the color of their skin, but, who did something wrong at point A, who did something wrong at point B. So we went from A to Z. Ultimately, once you're in handcuffs, the police have you apprehended. Your job is to put someone in handcuffs, take them to jail, and then the judge will take care of the rest of the process. Due process happens in the court, not on the street.
To actually participate in a protest, I don't know that I have enough information to make an educated statement on that. But when I look at those things, I say, where did this come from? Who started this? What is their goal? Who's funding it? What is the purpose of this? So I ask a lot of those questions, which is why I myself am not going to go intentionally be a part of that if I don't align with that. But that has nothing to do with my view on race. And so to intertwine that would be mangled.
The political side of some of these matters have been cloudy. It's something that people that want to manipulate the process and cause confusion as opposed to dealing with the issue.
Of course there's empathy. Empathy for those going through that is generated from sincerity and heartbreak and recognizing, hey, I have no idea what it felt like to be Rosa Parks that day. But do I need to teach and train the children how to be strong, courageous people like her? Or how to be a Dr. Martin Luther King and speak up and be able to use his voice? That's not just history, that's who do you want to be today? So yes, I empathize with that because I care and I want our kids to be able to live their life in that way. Much of what people are seeing and hearing today is based on the hate. And when hate is represented, it doesn't matter what form you're seeing it in. It's a matter of the heart. These are interpersonal, relational conflicts that have been stirred up. And some people, it just started. Some people, that was inbred in them from the day they were born. And heart issues can only be resolved within someone's most inner thoughts. We can't go around and fix other people's heart. This doesn't go in a basket, sweetie. You keep it up here. My job is to figure out how to keep the 5 of us and this family focused on who holds our tomorrow. Where do we go from here? Because if this is our last conversation and the world ends today, is what we've shared and reflected and discussed upon with our children something in which they can then make an educated decision without us? When you use faith as your foundation in your discussions as a family, it's really simple actually to integrate that into the relationships that you choose to expose them to. So instead of shielding them from life, we've just chosen the tribe of people that we want to associate with.
Study.
Okay.
And I explode the code study.
Well, their exposure is so diverse. We were talking yesterday about who their friends are and where they're from. And I'm like, I feel like we could pull the whole United Nations to the park for a gathering if you really look at color as who we're exposing our children to. It's not a selection pool. It's just who we have grown to love and who the Lord's brought in our path to be friends with.
Our goal is to, not pigeonhole their thinking. We want them to be whole brain thinkers. We want them to think beyond someone's color of their skin, or their eyes, or their hair. Because if we solve one problem, there's always going to be a next. We're always going to find something to talk about with someone and to judge.
Jump on the table.
Based on what we're experiencing now and the divisions that we have in our society, I have to be above that. If I were to dwell on the what I look like and what society thinks about what I look like, I won't be successful as I am right now.
I think you look good. I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
But we shouldn't deny that there's something going on and it's bad.
Yeah.
We need to focus on how can we make it better.